And we are live, guys. Going to do a super quick recap of round 20. I know there's still one game to go, but I'm going to get this in before the final game of the round kicks off. Thought it might just get a bit too late. Otherwise, as always, please let me know if you can hear me, see me, anything you took away from round 20, and I will have this video fired up, ready to go. We'll get straight into it by the 2-minute mark. Cheers, guys. Just share it into the tripod group as well. We'll try and make this the quickest pod of the year so far. Just quick takes of each of the 7 games we've seen so far. Nice to have a sweat-free winner on a Monday night. All right, shared in. Thanks, guys. I can see your comments coming through. Appreciate it. Have I got my graphics in order? Should be all right. Yeah, nice little quickie for you, Lever. Happy birthday for Wednesday, mate. I gave you a shout out on the Wednesday pod. I didn't actually say happy birthday. Hello and welcome to the Tripod, where we break down the NRL every game, every week from a punting perspective. I'm Jacob Wynn. This is the round 20 live recap. It's going to be a mini recap because there's another game of footy that's going to kick off in under 15 minutes, but I thought I'll shoehorn this in now, otherwise it gets a bit late. And we don't have a bet that's actually riding on this final game, which is Manly Cronulla. If anything crazy happens, we'll touch on that one on Wednesday. Of course, there's Olympics on and everything. So let's just try and whiz through and talk about what we learnt. But just housekeeping, another winning week, as Brent commented there, 2-1 on the best bets. The mixed matchup gets up very comfortably, 28 points to 6, paying an underdog price again, $2.25 at one. Roosters scoring more points than the Bulldogs. They were both predicted to score about 20, so that went well in our favour. We've won 10 of the last 11. Nobody should be winning 10 of 11. Of 50-50 bets, let alone the prices that we're getting on the mixed matchup. So it's been a phenomenal run. Now, multis. We had a 12-1 multi, just one multi this round. We lost by one leg. The one leg lost on a try with 2 minutes to go. That was a total that lost in the Broncos Cowboys. And that was the only game we lost money on. We did lose a best bet out, but I'll talk about that when we get to that game. The profit now, if you're having 100 on every best bet, and every mixed matchup, it's over $3,000. And 100 is just an example so you can visualize how we're doing. It's not what I say you should put on it. That's up to you, and you should always bet responsibly. But I was having this conversation with someone today. Like, I know everyone thinks it's a betting show or someone's giving out tips so you're expected to win, but really, breaking even is success. The odds are set up so the punters don't win. The odds are set up to be in favor of the bookies. So if you're breaking even, you're getting free entertainment. We're here because we enjoy having a punt. Anything above breaking even is success. And you might say, well, I'm not going to listen to a pod that just breaks even, but that's still a lot better than what most punters do. So obviously that's not the case with this season. We've gone far, far beyond that. But hopefully people can appreciate that. That's not the norm. And it is not this easy to win every single week. It's just been an awesome run. I think we're still 66% for the season through 20 rounds now. Before I talk about each game really quickly, let's just get a word from our sponsor, Tristan from TopSport, who will also tell us how the bookies went in round 20.
Hey, Tripod family, Tristan Merlahan here from TopSport. Interesting week, obviously drama-packed week with the games on Saturday being moved to Sunday and then getting Monday night footy back tonight, which has been awesome. Always been a big advocate of the Monday night footy, so it's good to have it back. Obviously, one game's done and dusted, and we've got another game to go between the Sharkies and the Seagulls. Funny old week. The Roosters obviously started the week getting an upset victory over the Eels, but they were quite well back. They were back from 4.5 into 3.5 over that key number. There was big money for the Tigers against the Warriors. Obviously, a lot of people thought the Warriors potentially would hanging up the boots for the season. They put a really gutsy effort to come back from 16-0 or whatever it was down to get a result there, and that was by far and away our biggest result of the weekend. And then from there, it was sort of just a slow bleed, really. The Storm were very well backed, and they obviously covered the line against the Panthers, and then the Rabbitohs as well also dominated against the Dragons. And then, as you guys know, and will be very happy about, the mixed matchup got up again, so that was another ordinary result. So we're about square, probably just behind for the weekend with one game to play. Not a whole heap in it. So we'll all live to fight another day, and well done on Jacob and the crew for getting another result and keeping the mixed matchup streak going. So good stuff, and hopefully you've all been enjoying the Olympics and enjoying the footy, and if you've had a bet, hope you've had some success. See you guys.
Thank you, Tristan. Jeff in the comments touching on the mixed matchup not being void. According to Top Sports rules, your game would have to be moved more than 48 hours or a venue change interstate for them to void any bet at all, just so people know. So the mixed matchup wasn't in danger of that. But even if it had been pushed a week, Tristan was going to be pretty accommodating for us. I think we were going to use fair discretion, and really they weren't trying to look to get out of that one. They paid us up fair and square. Mixed matchup, the best sports bet going around. I agree with that. The best market on the market, I think. If I'm touching on everything, I should also touch on the Olympics multi, which is 10-1, which I don't think will get up now, unfortunately. 4 components. The Australia gold leg is going to cash. USA, I'm very confident, will go under the 45 that we need. Japan could be touch and go, but I think that leg, if I had to guess, I actually think we'll win that leg too. And I think we're going to fall short on Italy, where we need 9 gold medals. Now, they won the marquee event of the games last night, which was really impressive, and another athletics gold in the high jump minutes later. But that's only 4 gold for Italy after 9 days. And they've got like 27 minor medals. So I think that's too many chances that have been left on the table. But hey, 10-1, just cheer for every Italian for the next 5 days. You never know. Maybe we get an Italian gold rush. Let's talk about the footy. Of course, it kicked off with the Roosters as an upset victory over the Eels. 28-0. They beat the Eels in Mackay. We had a best bet. The best bet won very easily, plus 2.5 in the first half, and they're up 12-0. Talked about how I also liked them plus 4.5. That was a leg in our multi. Well, the Eels have really lost their way, and I think a big part is losing Mitchell Moses, this Jacob Arthur, and I hate to bag someone with that name, but like, he is a weak link. Look, so he's a young guy that is still probably not really up to the level of, not saying he can't play first grade, but a guy that is not starring in first grade. So that has disjointed the whole Eels attack. Now Dylan Brown is feeling all the pressure to come up with everything in attack, but then the defense knows everything's going through him. They just look disjointed. They don't have any flair, and sometimes if your halves are struggling, your outside backs can create an attack, and the Eels don't really seem to have any playmaking outside backs. Gutho is a guy who's always there in support, and he's everywhere, but they don't necessarily have an outside back that's going to break a game open, and they didn't really trouble the Roosters, who just steamrolled them. The Roosters, I spoke about how they're nearly at that critical point of injuries, but they're not quite there yet because they still have so much class in their roster, but they copped another injury. I believe Josh Morris got hurt in this game too. So now they're outside backs. It's ridiculous. They've copped, I think, 15 or 16 major injuries this year. As I saw on NRL Physio, if you define a major injury as 5 or more weeks lost, it's quite incredible because there were top 4 implications for that game. The Roosters and Eels now equal on points, so equal 4th. I think the Eels might still have their nose ahead on points differential, but the Eels have a lot of hard games to come. Let's move to the Friday game, Tigers Warriors. The less said about this game, the better. What a horrible game it was to watch. I really thought that New Zealand had no business winning this game with all of the guys that they had out for this one. And although the Tigers lost Dane Laurie in the second minute to a broken leg, which is quite sickening and looks like he's going to be out for the season, they still were in complete control in this game. The Tigers led the game 10-0. And I listened to Madge. I mean, of course, now you know that the Tigers lost the game 18-16. And we didn't have a best bet on it. Luckily, I talked about the line had already got away from us. I thought Maguire kind of missed the point when he talked about, well, we played a great first half, but we didn't back it up in the second half. I think the Tigers partially lost this game in the first half. They had like 70% possession for the first half hour of this game. They needed to score more than 2 tries. When you've got over double your opponent's possession, they should have buried New Zealand far into the ground. They let the Warriors hang around. 10-0 was a score New Zealand was happy with at the break based on weight of possession. And New Zealand comes out and scores first, second half and gets themselves back in the game. In the end, the crazy part about this game, if you didn't catch it, was it looked like neither team wanted to win. There was so many bizarre moments. I mean, the winning try is a Ewan Aitken recovery off a short dropout that he just catches right at the 10-meter line, runs it back in. There was a 90-meter Luke Brooks length of the field kick return try that then was overturned because it did brush his arm. But each team just, and then of course the most comical play of all was the Tigers mounting a big amount of pressure, down 2, all the way to the Warriors goal line, 2 minutes to go, and nobody was in dummy half. So quite comical. Unbelievable. The people may not believe this, but had the Tigers won that game, they would have still been in the top 8 hunt, well and truly. They've got actually a pretty good draw, including the Dogs twice to end the year. So had they won that game, they'd be in the hunt. They should have won that game well. For them to lose, unbelievable. Hey, that's the Warriors' first win in over 2 months. And I think the last team they beat was the Tigers as well. So you hat off to the Warriors, but the Tigers were deplorable. I mean, yeah, you only lose a game by 2, but that was one of the worst efforts of the season. Let's move to the one game we lost money on this round. The Broncos 37 beat the Cowboys 18, and we lost because I took unders, which I have been playing very sparingly, but I thought this could be a game where both defenses showed up. Felt okay, 4-0 Brisbane after 15 minutes, but the thing that killed us in that game and the thing that just kills you in general, and I know Maddie O'Keefe is watching, it's just that teams can pile on points like never before. There was a 50-meter line break by Asako when the game was 4-0 and it ends up being a Broncos try from midfield. Then the Broncos drop the kickoff and the Cowboys instantly score after that. Then the Cowboys drop the ball one play into their next set and the Broncos score off that. So just bang, bang, bang. I think there was 4 tries in 12 minutes. The first half went over. And even then, the multi still needed the match to stay under 52.5 points. And unfortunately, there's a Broncos try for kick with 2 minutes to go. And I just knew, even though that was only the second leg, I had a feeling that'll be the only losing leg of our multi, 12-1. And of course it was. I thought Brisbane Stars stood up, Stags, Haas, and Ricky. We've been waiting for a few more Jordan Ricky sightings this season. He was big for them. And the Cowboys just don't have enough superstars. They've got one, Taumalolo, but he was held under wraps and they didn't really fire many other shots. They were comprehensively beaten. No footy on Saturday, as I think we touched on there. And it might have thrown a few of your guys' bets out of whack. I know even my best bet on Sportsbet with the Titans was voided because they've got different rules, I think because of the venue change. So as we know, there was no footy Saturday and then games were moved. The game that should have been in Rocky didn't go ahead. Every game ended up at Suncorp when only 2 were meant to be at Suncorp. So yeah, these are just unprecedented times. And I know it threw a few people's bets out. If you had a multi, let's say, you can't exactly replace the multi if a couple of the legs are voided. But just be aware of these rules and just double check if you're ever not sure, because you'd hate to place a really good bet and it gets voided and you think it's on. And then you go and check your account and, because of the terms and conditions, it's not on. All I can say is just be aware we've got a forum for a reason so people can help each other out with information like that. I wish I took the Knights in this Sunday game, which was the first match that we got footy back. And I was very thankful for us to get footy action back with the triple header Sunday. And the Knights beat the Raiders 34-24. That was an upset victory. The Knights were underdogs. I couldn't quite trust them. I was questioning their heart and I was questioning the health of a couple of their key players. And in the end, they played with heart. And a guy like Ponga was way better this week and was really dangerous. Bradman Best is clear big addition to this side. He's gotten back from injury. Even without Pearce, who still will add to this Knights team, they can still make the 8. But Barnett was outstanding in the second row there. And the Knights got out to a lead and pretty much controlled this game. I mean, the Raiders were coming back at them, but I don't think the Raiders ever closed the score within kind of single digits again once the Knights got out in front. So solid win for the Knights, and you still can't write off the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders have a very winnable game against the Dragons next week. So as I say every week, the top eight battle or the race to get into the finals, although these teams probably don't deserve it, it brings us exciting footy every single week. Now we had the top of the table clash, and it was a bit of a fizzer, unfortunately, but it was a real display of authority and just domination in Melbourne, beating the Panthers 37-10. I didn't play the game. The line was 18. As Tristan said, the Storm covered that easy. They were up 36-0 at one point. The crazy thing is, I didn't really think Penrith were that bad. I thought Penrith had a couple of half chances, but the Storm was so ruthless. And when the Storm got their chances, they're just unstoppable. There was one blip on the radar, which was last week, getting pushed to the wire by the Cowboys, which actually I think meant that the Storm were even more likely to play really well this week. And you'd think 18.5 would be enough points to give like a decent side like Penrith, even with their outs. Penrith's not a side that's going to give up. But I think the fact that the Storm had so much respect for Penrith meant they never eased up. Well, in fact, they did, but only once it was 36-0. And I mean, other noteworthy points, Pappenhausen has been working back into this team, and he's getting a little bit better every week. Harry Grant was back and starred for the Storm. And one other side note I have to make, because we've got Matty, the Undertaker O'Keefe, who played under 46.5 in this game. It was 36-4. So that's 40 points with a minute to go. He has 46.5. Penrith scores a soft dummy half try, which the Storm never gives up. Kicks the conversion. There's a kickoff with like under 30 seconds left. The Storm get a regather, or in fact find touch off the kickoff, and then Pappenhausen slots a field goal. I was absolutely disgusted. I'd just eaten dinner, and I was nearly about to fetch my dinner up, feeling that pain for Matty O'Keefe. That's just cruel. I know people say that's what you get for betting unders, but that everyone wants that bet in their pocket when the total's on 40 and you've got 46.5 with a minute to go. So the heart goes out to the Undertaker there, but I know he always bounces back. I think just half an hour later, he won an easy under in the AFL, and he's been producing a lot of quality tips and coming up with several different angles to what I come up with on the pod. That's the beauty of the forum. Then we had the later game, Sunday night, the Rabbitohs smashed the Dragons. Let me bring it up there. They put a 50 spot on them. Rabbitohs got out to an early lead. Dragons actually fought back 12-10. I was you're thinking, is it game on here? Are the Rabbitohs fully switched on? Are the Dragons, who are playing a bunch of kids, are they, to maybe try and invigorate the squad, because otherwise it's a lost season? Are we going to get a game? But then the Rabbitohs just kind of stepped it up one more gear and still in cruise control. Latrell just looks too big and too strong for everybody else on the field. Walker Reynolds, who I said both had like mini injury clouds, both played really well. Jai Arrow was really big, stepping in for Cam Murray. And I think the Rabbitohs are real contenders. Like, people are saying now, nobody can beat the Storm, hand the Storm the trophy. Look, the truth is, the Storm are still going to need to win 3 finals games to win the comp. They'll be clear favourites against whoever they play. But, I mean, if the Storm plays a full-strength Penrith, I still believe, or a full-strength Rabbitohs, you're probably looking at a line around 8.5 in a finals game, which is really big. But it's not crazy for an 8.5 point favourite to lose. You're talking like Storm might be like $1.30 to an opponent like $3.20 or something like that, $3.50 kind of thing. So it's not a foregone conclusion. These teams are not that far away. Penrith, who I just spoke about before, have got their excuses, and they will start to get some troops back. And the Rabbitohs are genuine. I know, like, you just beat the Dragons, but just the way they look to me, they look like they're finding form at the right time in the competition. Finally, let's just wrap it here with the Titans, who beat the Bulldogs 34-6, and I was really confident they were going to win this comprehensively, and they did. The best bet was minus 12.5, which obviously won quite nicely, 16-0 at halftime, and then went on with it. What I liked about the Titans' performance, they started slow. They only scored 1 try in the first 35 minutes, but they were willing to work in defense when they had to defend their line. They didn't play like an under-20 side that I often criticize the Gold Coast Titans for. They applied themselves. They were focused, they were fierce, and they were physical in this one. And Bulldogs couldn't go with them. Bulldogs are already such a limited attacking side. That's why I loved having the mixed matchup going against the Bulldogs. I know people had their doubts, how many will the Roosters score against the Eels in a night game? But as we know, we got 28, so we never really even had to worry tonight. And in the end, There was certainly no point in the game where you were worried. You guys saw I posted at halftime claiming the victory, and I hate putting the mock on any of my tips, but that one was pretty safely home. Let's leave it there, guys. Good luck if you do have any money on the final game of the round, which has just kicked off in the last 5 minutes. So I'll let you go. Sharkies against the Seagulls, and enjoy the Olympics as well. We'll touch base on further results with Olympics and also with the footy on the Wednesday night preview, which will be round 21. Hopefully I'll see you there. It premieres live on YouTube at 5:45 p.m. Thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, gamble responsibly. Lego.